Every year, young players step up in ways we don't expect and become elite-level talents seemingly overnight. There's no two players that exemplify that more than Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson do now, and they went from, in Pat's case, a one-game starter in his rookie season because of a locked-in playoff spot to an MVP, and in Lamar's case, a media-driven narrative running back to an MVP. They transformed their game and became elite fixtures at their position over the course of one offseason. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about players who very well could do the same thing and be ready to dominate their respective positions. Now, just because I used Pat and Lamar as examples doesn't mean I'm saying every player in today's video will be a top 2 or 3 player at their position in 2020. I expect them to take a big step up and have good success this year, with some having more than others. This will be a variety of first, second, and third year players in today's video. Now, before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now let's begin. And the first player I expect to take a big leap in 2020 is Seahawks wideout DK Metcalf. DK, like Lamar, was scrutinized by the media prior to the draft, and like Lamar, I think we can see a huge leap in year 2. Metcalf had a solid rookie year as he totaled 900 yards and 7 touchdowns and appeared on the NFL Top 100, being just one of 4 rookies to do so. Now, whether he deserved that or not is a completely different topic, but the fact of the matter is he did appear in the NFL Top 100. However, he is in a great situation as a receiver, as he has an undisputed top 3 quarterback in the NFL throwing to him, and as we all know, he has the physical gifts. It's very rare we have a receiver run a 4.3 40 that's also 6'4" and 230 pounds, but that is DeKalin Zacharias Metcalf. While he will have to compete with Tyler Lockett for targets, I don't see any reason why he can't have an 80 to 85 catch, 1,300 to 1,400 yard year. Receivers generally take longer to develop, as it takes players time to develop between how fast they run their routes, how quick they can get in and out of cuts, and the physicality of opposing corners. It's one thing to consistently go against corners in college, but it's another completely different ballgame to go against Jalen Ramsey twice a year. Anyways, with the combination of an elite quarterback, natural progression, knowing what it takes physically and mentally to get through the rigors of an NFL season, I fully expect DK Metcalf to have a huge second year. And now we head to Buffalo to discuss Josh Allen of the Bills. Allen made significant strides between year 1 and year 2, and he should really step up again in year 3. He doubled his touchdown passes from 2018 to 19, and his completion percentage went up over 6%. Now, he still was one of the worst quarterbacks in terms of accuracy in 2019, but I do think he will improve again in 2020, and for the first time in his career, bring Buffalo a division title. With the completion percentage statement, I don't think we see Josh Allen all of a sudden turn into a Drew Brees player where he leads the league in completion percentage multiple times over the course of his career, but I do think we see a move up on the list from dead last. Allen more than has the tools for a quarterback to be successful, as he is a very mobile quarterback and on top of it can throw the ball 80 yards through the air. His team did him a great service by adding Stephon Diggs this offseason, and I don't think it will be long before we see a deep ball from Allen to Stephon. While Diggs gets a lot of credit for how good of a route runner he is a very good deep ball receiver, as he had 8 receptions, go for over 40 yards in 2019, and was the Vikings' deep threat guy when they needed him to be. Allen has an absolute cannon, and Stephon has great speed, and while it's not quite Tyreek Hill speed, his play speed is among the fastest in the league, and for that reason, we could see Allen rack up the passing yards in 2020. I don't doubt a 30 passing touchdown season from Josh this year, but I certainly don't expect it either. Regardless, I do think he is ready to take the next step, and hopefully for his team's sake, win the division title and win a playoff game. And next we head to Indy to discuss the player on today's thumbnail, which is Colts rookie Jonathan Taylor. Taylor was an absolute beast during his time at Wisconsin, and I truly do think he can step in and be a great player from day one. Now, statistically, he may not be all that good in 2020 because of Marlon Mack already being there, but he will be a great player within a year or 2 at most and be a consistent 1,000-yard back, assuming he stays healthy. And we've seen other former Big Ten backs go from college to the NFL and pay immediate dividends for their franchises, like with Ezekiel Elliott leading the league in rushing yards in 2016, and Saquon Barkley having over 2,000 total yards in 2018. Now, Taylor obviously isn't as good as those two, or at least wasn't as a prospect, given he was selected in the 2nd round, and both of those guys went in the top 5 of their drafts. However, Jonathan will have the opportunity to run behind a Hall of Fame caliber, yes, I said that, he is 2 All-Pros in 2 years, in Quentin Nelson, Anthony Costanzo for a year, and Ryan Kelly. He starts in a great situation, and I think with the success he will have in year 1, the Colts will only keep feeding him the ball, and by year's end, he could be a 1,300 to 1,500 total yard player. The only thing that concerns me with Jonathan in year 1 is how much the Colts are attached to and want to give the ball to Marlon Mack. If Mack went down with an injury, or had COVID, or even opted out of this year because of COVID, then Jonathan Taylor would be a Pro Bowler and would be a great running back in year number 1. And next is Vikings corner Mike Hughes for a few reasons. Corners, as we have discussed multiple times before, generally take longer to develop, as it's one thing to go up against in college a receiver that plays on a 6 and 7 team, and even if he is in the SEC or Big Ten, that receiver, even if he is that Division I college's number 1 receiver, usually isn't a starting NFL caliber player. Because of this, a lot of the time, it takes corners much longer to develop than other positions, like running back for example. A player who had a solid second year and then became a true shutdown corner in his third year is Marlon Humphrey of the Ravens, who was never really a bad pro player, even during his rookie and second season. It just took him a few years to become one of the best corners in all of football. While Mike didn't have the success Marlon did in his first 2 years, he is in a good situation, as head coach Mike Zimmer has been referred to as a cornerback guru, as he molded Xavier Rhodes from a first-round prospect in 2013 to a first-team All-Pro corner in 2017. Now, Xavier lost his physical ability to turn his hips the way he used to be able to in 2019, and obviously wasn't the same player as he once was, but that's a different discussion. Zimmer helped mold Xavier into one of the best players at his position over a 2 to 3 year span, and there's no reason he can't do the same with Mike Hughes. Hughes is looked at from Vikings fans as next in line of good cornerback play, and boy will they need it this year. Mike is a good slot corner, so we'll see if they play him on the outside or just keep him in the slot, but if he does go outside, he will have the challenge of going against Kenny Golladay, Devontae Adams, and Allen Robinson for 6 of 16 games this year. Regardless, Mike has had some patches of both good and bad play throughout the first 2 years of his career, and I think in 2020, he is ready to take the next step. He's just 23 years old and will be the number 1 corner in a room full of young corners like first-round pick Jeff Gladney, third-round pick Cameron Dantzler, and young corner Holton Hill. This will be Hughes' cornerback room, and he will need to step up and be ready to dominate in 2020. Next is Isaiah Simmons of the Cardinals, who was a great defensive prospect they drafted at 8th overall. Isaiah wowed everyone when he ran a 4.39 40 at the combine, had a 39-inch vertical leap, and an 11-foot broad jump. He walks into a situation that's good for him to succeed in 2020, and I'll explain why. The Cardinals' defense in 2020 was not good, as they gave up the 5th most points in the league and the most yards in the entire NFL. They forced just 17 turnovers, which was tied for the 6th fewest in the league, and when you play in a division with Russell Wilson, a team as good as the 49ers, and Jared Goff, it's not surprising that they had just 5 wins. The Cardinals' defense was so bad in 2019 as a whole that they can really only go up from here, and I would imagine they will use Simmons like a Swiss Army knife and have him be everywhere, as that's what he did in his final year at Clemson, and it paid off as he was a unanimous All-American. Simmons can defend the run and cover tight ends, and there's a tight end in their division that's pretty good, so I would imagine a big reason drafting Simmons, though not the only reason, was to stop number 85 on the 49ers. He will be ready to dominate in year 1 and bring the winning culture to Arizona, as he was a national champion in his redshirt sophomore year at Clemson and lost just 1 game during his junior year. He also was the conference's defensive player of the year and was the Butkus Award winner. The Cardinals will 100% be using him to play everywhere in 2020, and he will be ready to dominate. And with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. If you ever have a video suggestion, let me know in the comments. If you're still watching, I appreciate the time out of your day. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.